to my show.
Thank you.
You are of Sabaton, a fantastic metal band out of Sweden. And it's great to have you on this show. And yeah, I mean, today we're here to talk about your new album release,
Yeah,
which is out on Friday, The War to End All Wars, which is a fantastic album, I must say.
thank you.
I've had the
Happy to hear.
thanks to your colleague just there, um, sent me a link to it, and yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it's awesome, and yeah, that's what we're here to talk about, and some other bits as well. But yeah, let's start with the album. Obviously, you said just before we hit record, you're very much looking forward to this release, and yeah, could you tell us a little bit about it? Because there's some fantastic tracks that have already been released. We had Unkillable Killer, Christmas Truce, and Soldier of Heaven, I think, are out now.
Yeah, yeah. Those three songs, yeah. And yeah, I mean, we made another album about World War One. To follow up the latest album called Great War. Actually, we didn't plan to make an album about this at all. We were just planning to make one or two songs that we kind of couldn't fit in on the album. So when we were doing the Great War, we knew that we wanted to do at least one song called The Christmas Truce.
Yeah.
We were aiming, we were trying, but we couldn't find the right mood, the right song, the right music for it. So we made the Great War without it. And then we said, okay, let's do Christmas Truce at a later point. And we started to try to write that song, and we wrote that song. And then came the pandemic, and we were like, okay, so what do we do now? Let's go and record the Christmas Truce, and at least we move on. And as we realized that time is passing by, we're like, we're gonna do another album because I mean, we can't just sit here and be unproductive for you know, who knows how long. So we started to make more music and started to prepare for the recording of a new album, and we started to discuss different topics and stuff. And we already had the Christmas Truce, and we're like, we have that one, and we also have the we know that we really wanted to make the song called Hellfighters. So there was two topics already there, and we're like, maybe we take a couple of more because we have enough stories about World War One. Maybe we take a couple of more and we make the whole album about it. And we started and went down that path, and out came The War to End All Wars, an entire follow-up to the Great War, and another concept album about World War One.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fantastic. I mean, some great tracks on there. Ones that people haven't heard yet. Race to the Sea was one of my favorites on there. And Valley of Death as well, which is another fantastic track. But no, this album it's been on play. It's been playing with me for a couple of days now, and it's been on constant rotation. So I'm
Happy
sure
to hear.
the fans of Sabaton are going to absolutely love it. It is truly well, it's truly a Sabaton album, and taking obviously World War One again. Is that something that a topic that's sort of close to your family, or is it just something like a moment in history that really really kind of what's the word? Well, I guess encapsulates you, or you know, entices you, I think is probably the word.
Let's say it like this. I mean, World War One has never gotten nearly the same attention as World War Two. And but when we came up to the 100 years anniversary, sort of World War One, that's when we started to discuss, okay, maybe we should do a concept album about this. And I think as we started to dig deeper into this conflict, we kind of found out like there is so much here that we didn't know about, that and the deeper we dig, the more stories came out and the more stories we wanted to retell. And I think it was just natural for us, and of course, to cover the entire First World War in one album, it was not doable.
No.
So now we have two albums about it. I mean, we touched the subject a couple of times before as well. We got songs like The Lost Battalion, Cliffs of Gallipoli. We have Angels Calling, which we did a re-recording of together with the Finnish band Apocalyptica. And we have done a couple of songs about this in the past, but now we did another concept album. And I think that the First World War is overshadowed by second one, but very, very important for the history.
Yes. Yeah. Especially.
And very dark. I mean,
Yeah.
when it's so brutal and dark, of course all wars are horrible and dark, but First World War was so mechanical and so brutal on a never seen scale before. I mean, modern weapons were introduced, causing mass casualties in short time, and the extreme like waste of massive amounts of human lives in the trench warfares and stuff. It's visually, it's such a brutal and dark time.
Mm.
I think that's what inspired us to stay in it.
Yeah, and you're right. It doesn't get as much. It doesn't get talked about as much as the Second World War. Like my kids at the moment, they're obviously doing history in school and things like that, and I remember going back in there. But it's always kind of been World War II, and it was always the first one, like you said, was very dark. I think that's probably why they didn't touch on it so much, because it was that kind of like moment in history where everything changed. I mean, there have been wars before, but this is, like you say, it had the mechanical side of it. So it had weapons of just mass ability to, take out a mass amount of people in one go, rather than the sort of like muskets and swords and knives and stuff that we were used to prior to that. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic subject. I'm a lover of history, so that's why I gravitate to your band. It's like you guys, Iron Maiden, things like that kind of have this touch on history or mythological events and things like that. And World War One, like I say, I mean, being from this area of Europe as well, it's kind of, it is, there are many monuments everywhere, there are many museums, there are many sort of like places you can go and read about this or see pictures of and things like that. And which kind of brings me on to my next subject. A lovely little segue there. You have involvement with actually one of the museums in Hartlepool,
True.
the Hugh Battery Museum. I've got written here, and you help raise some money to save it as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, when we are, deciding to do an album about World War One, we're looking massively like what is going on in the world, like what other topics are it about this? Is there anybody else working on something similar? We do a lot of different research, and along the way there, we come up with this museum asking for funds to continue operate, and we're like, hey, that's not fair. So we thought, okay, we can do something. I mean, we often get asked questions if we can help here or there, and it just felt so right to do it. The timing of the album, and when we saw it, we felt like if we can, we should put a little bit of assistance here.
Yeah, no, I mean that's awesome. I mean, I love that kind of thing. I mean, a band of your size, like giving back, to something that is obviously means a lot to you guys as well. I mean, the topics you guys sing about, write about, and things like that a moment like this where something comes along and requires help, and you're there to give it, which is
It was also very emotional. I mean, the intendant Diane. I remember when we were speaking, and she came actually wearing the leather pants, and it was like, oh, all right. She was like, I haven't worn this since I was a kid. Like, I was going to the festivals and metal gigs,
yeah
because I've been so, like, how to say, so casual in my life the past years, and I haven't been exposed to metal, and then metal comes to my aid. So
yeah
of course I'm back to the roots, and that was so, it was a very emotional part of the story, I think.
No, that's absolutely, I mean, that's the power of music right there as well. Like, how you can sort of maybe move away from something from your youth and come back to it, and it comes back to you. And that's the key with a lot of, like, any kind of art form. I think is it can go around, what goes around comes around, basically. in a nice way, not in the bad karma
Yeah.
way. But no, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, you guys are up there tomorrow as well, as of recording this, I should say. And you're there. You're going to do a bit of promo from there, which is great. Give it a bit of more publicity as well. Which is an absolute great thing to do. I mean, like I said, I'm a lover of history. I take the family out as much as they might not like it or like it. I take them to historic places around England and Scotland and Wales and things like that. So yeah, no, I'm definitely going to pay a visit to this place as well if I'm up in the Hartlepool area. So which is great. But yeah, well, I mean, from there, what are your guys like away from this album release? What are your guys' plans this summer? I know you probably got a couple of festivals lined up here and there, and obviously,
Yeah, actually, we just launched a bunch of shows today.
oh, okay,
So we just a few moments ago we announced some shows for the summer. So that's exciting. I mean, anything that has to do with a show at the moment is exciting, of course, because we haven't had too much of that in the past years. So the summer for us is already so busy that there is no more space to fit in anything more. It's a crazy summer where nobody really knows what is going on, but there's a lot going on.
yeah,
We have moved some of our shows that were supposed to happen on the tour. We have moved some of them to the summer, some of them might be postponed. But yeah, I mean, it's I think it's natural for anybody to understand that at the moment there is nothing more that we look for than to be on a big festival stage or a big stage to play in front of a lot of people. We're gonna have a great warm up because we have in about a month from now we start the tour in Sweden with 30 shows in Sweden in a row. A pretty damn intense tour that we have been looking forward to do for a long time. I mean, we're gonna visit cities nobody ever heard of, basically, and do shows. And it's pretty funny. I mean, normally in regular circumstances we do few of arenas, but this time we decided to do 30 different cities.
yeah.
Something quite unique, and yeah, I think it's gonna be absolutely amazing to do.
No, that is.
Unfortunately, it's gonna take a while until we get to the UK. That's sad. We don't have anything lined up for the summer. I'm sorry for that.
Okay. Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. We'll catch you. Don't worry. You've been here before. So
We will come though, of
yeah,
course, and we are super excited because even if we haven't revealed or announced the upcoming touring plans, which includes the UK, this part of the tour is actually set, so we know that it will happen and when it will happen. So that's good at least. It's been tricky like hell to, every time there's more, you need to reschedule shows, postpone shows. It's a hell for us as musicians,
yeah,
and it's more difficult than most people understand, I think, to reschedule, because at the moment there's almost no availability of venues, arenas, clubs, or anything, and it's really difficult as well for other things that people are less aware of, like this summer there's a lot of artists who cannot tour because there's simply not enough tour buses. There are no flights even. I mean, this is how can you have, we know some colleagues who accepted that they're gonna play some festivals, and then they realize that they cannot play them because they simply cannot get there because there's no buses to rent and there are no flights to take. That's crazy.
that is.
It's unprecedented in the entertainment industry that we have seen anything like this before.
Yeah, I mean, it must be difficult. I mean, you're like you're also the band's manager still, right? That's the thing. So
True.
like taking that on, I mean, I did it not to the scale that you've done it, but I was in a band many years ago and I managed them as well. We were sort of all self-in. I did the, a bit of publicity, a bit of all that kind of stuff. And I can't imagine it, especially in times like this, like you say, where there's nothing kind of, there are what would normally be given as, yeah, it's going to be available for you, like a bus or just a mode of transport. And to find that, let alone not being able to book a venue, but not being able to have the logistics to get there, especially with a stage show like yours as well, where you have a set, how
we need a lot. We do need a lot of stuff with us, and we do bring a lot of things with us. I mean, the last tour that we were able to pull off before the before the world shut down,
Mm.
where we came to the UK and playing in London at the Wembley. I mean, we were traveling with quite big production. We were 140 touring crew members. So it's a massive thing that we go around with, and taking from that, you know, taking 140 people with you, and 2 months later the world shuts down and nobody's going on tour anymore.
Yeah.
So and now when we are trying to pull the team together again, a lot of them have left. They have found different jobs and stuff. The core crew of Sabaton is still there because we kept them. Uh, we kept them you know, busy and on the payroll during these difficult times, and to ensure that whenever we get out of the hell, then we are able to resume touring, and we are able to do good shows with a real crew, sound good, look good, the way that fans expects from us.
Yeah.
But it's been super difficult, and it's still difficult, and I think that the music industry is going to take a couple of years before it actually goes back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's too overcrowded. It's really complicated. I mean, if you're trying to book an arena at the moment, you have to look years in advance.
Yeah.
It used to be, I mean, like a band like Sabaton, yes, we do book our arenas quite far in advance, but they are available. They
Yeah.
are. It's not like there's an issue, and if we want to add something, we can do it normally. You know, if we back 3 years in time and we decide, okay, we need to add one show in Germany, this region at this date, then we can find an arena, you know, if we are only 6 months out or something. But now you need to be 2 years out if you want to get anything. And even that is complicated. The summer of 2023 is already complete mess for every artist touring.
Yeah.
And uh, and it's not even going to allow every artist to tour in 2023. So there's going to be those that have to wait until 24 before they really can do proper touring again.
Yeah.
It's a mess, and the result is because too many bands had unfortunately to postpone their tours,
Yeah.
and now when like it looks like the world is going to open up, and I think in the summer we're going to see quite a lot of festivals and shows opening up, and but you also have to face the fact basically every band in the whole world wants to go on tour at the same time. This has never happened before.
No, no. Normally there are cycles, and they sort of make a sort of, you know, accommodations for other bands or other projects and stuff like that. And yeah, no, I could see that being an absolute nightmare
Yeah,
on that front.
no,
Like you've got to look like much further ahead as well, like because the like you say, the venues aren't there at the moment. They're booked with
I
everyone
see.
else. So but I've got a couple of questions left for you, Pär.
Sure.
I'll let you get on because I know you got break coming up in a moment. So but yeah, what I want to know from you, what are your three most pivotal albums in your life? So not your sort of like top albums, but the one, you know, the one that made you want to pick up a guitar, the one that made you want to be in a band. What if you could pin them to three, what would those be?
Uh, okay. So I think this Skid Row album, Skid Row,
Yeah.
this is where I wanted to be in a band. This is the band who the album, and I mean, this is when I started with my best friend from the childhood, and I mean, we were in his basement, and he had the amplifiers. Like, here's the bass guitar. I teach you how to play, and I play the guitar, and we played along with that record so many times. And we wish we were in a band, and then we eventually started our own band. So that's kind of how that has to go in there. Other other real important ones. I mean, the first record I think I bought like for my own money and um, is the number of the beast. Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
that one has to go in there as well. It was really significant, and you know, being the only I had some records before because I inherited whatever my sister stopped listening to, so I had all kind of different color compilations, and I did had some Michael Jackson records and stuff like that. But I think when I bought Number of the Beast, it was the only rock album I had, and I don't know how much I listened to that. I memorized everything in the booklet, and I knew everything about the album. It was on CD though, and so that one really like, wow, I'm now a rocker because I have a rock album, one. Uh, so that one is super important as well. And then I think another, I mean, to mention something that is important, maybe not for me starting, but really inspiring, it has to be Hammerfall's first album, because at the time of they releasing the Glory to the Brave, basically Sweden was all about death and black metal. There was nothing melodical, and everybody was playing death and black metal, and I didn't like it, but I was also doing it because there was nobody who wanted to hear melodic metal. There was no interest for it, and most people wanted to be the next whatever, the next section or this, and it was it was this kind of time when it was just this music, and then Hammerfall came, and I remember when my friend played it, and I was like, "You can really do this? You can really play melodic heavy metal, like power metal again?" And it's like, wow, then this is what we should be doing. And then we started, to go that way, and it was super important. Without Hammerfall, I don't think there would be a Sabaton, because I don't think that people would believe in that kind of music.
Yeah, no, I mean Hammerfall, absolutely fantastic band. So that's awesome. I mean, Iron Maiden, yeah, that's Iron Maiden. Can't say anything like enough about them. And Skid Row as well. I mean, classic rock band right there. And no, 3 fantastic albums. I could definitely see where Sabaton comes from on that front. But finally, your last question. It's probably going to be all about the band. But what are your hobbies away from Sabaton? Because obviously I know you manage as well, so I don't know if you have time for anything else. But
well, I do occupy myself quite a lot with the band, and it's like people often ask me why I spend so much time with the band, and why don't you have any other hobbies and stuff, and it's like there is not so much need for anything else when you have one thing that fills every tag box that you're looking for, excitements, complications, difficulties, rewards, whatever you are looking for in life. I find everything in the band. So the band gives me a lot, so I don't really need that many hobbies. If I do have a couple. I mean, and I think that sometimes I like to just close off the world and play a little bit of video games. It gives peace of mind for me to not bother about the rest of the world, to just hide inside of a fictionary world for a little while, and just occupy every part of my brain to focus on completing tasks within a game or whatever.
Yeah,
that I would like. That has to be one of my hobbies. Then yeah, I don't know.
no,
I do enjoy drinking in metal bars. This is
okay.
one of my hobbies, and something I really like to do as much as I can. And going to see gigs is super inspiring, to go and see other bands play, and I do enjoy it so much. Sadly, the last years it hasn't been enough of that,
Yeah,
but that's I like that a lot. So I
awesome.
mean, find me in a metal bar, drinking, watching bands. That's my true environment, I think.
Sounds awesome. Sounds absolutely awesome. Well, Pär, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Good luck with the album and everything. I'm sure you won't need it, but it's like I said, it's fantastic. Everyone go get it. It's on Nuclear Blast, Friday the 4th of March. The War to End All Wars. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Have a good one, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.